Hi, I'm Aaliyah.
And I'm Hav. Welcome to Mom Files, Moments of Motherhood podcast, the place where the messy, hard, and honest parts of momming get to exist without shame.
If you're a mom, you'll find realistic routines, gentle validation, and maybe a few new things to try. Think of us as your village, a judgment-free corner of motherhood.
We're so glad you're here. Welcome back. I'm Hav.
And I'm Aaliyah.
And today is our season finale. Thank you so much for everybody who has come on this journey with us. And if you're just starting to listen, I hope you enjoy it. I will be going on mat leave. So when I come back, we'll come back with another season. If you have any ideas or wants for what you'd like to hear, please let us know. But with that, I'll kind of get into it. Yeah, hit our inbox, hit our feedback.
I'll link it.
So yeah, over the last season, we kind of have gathered a handful of questions from you guys, both relating to labor and delivery, and postpartum, which we've talked a lot about this season, and just some other random questions about parenting and whatnot, because we like to give our 2 cents. So why not? So we're going to be answering all your burning questions, and this is also your sign. If you have any for us, send them our way. We'll answer them in another episode. Anyways, let's get into it. All right. So we're going to start out with labor and delivery questions and just kind of jump into it. So one question we had was, what happens in the hospital during the hours between contractions and pushing?
The only reason I figured I'd start is this was something I was really curious about and I never really thought about until I was in it. And just because I had so I ended up having a 31-hour long labor from like the time I entered the hospital until I pushed him out. And so I was there a long time and I felt like this was kind of a period that I had a lot. And so more for myself, like I would rest during those times. I would bounce on the medicine ball. My mom and Ty were there, so I'd hang out with them. I drank liquids. I know once my epidural I had that, I was so low on energy because we're like, I think this was after 24 hours. I had a popsicle because I needed more energy. They were like, maybe a little bit of sugar will help because I was like, I'm tired. But honestly, I basically just did anything that kind of helped me get me through until the baby came. So I was mostly like doing breathings or like anything that I felt like would kind of make my labor easier and also faster, even though obviously that did not work. What about for you?
Yeah, it's a little bit different because I induced. So I went in on a schedule and my labor was 18 hours, something like that. So I went at 7, started the Pitocin drip, all that good stuff. A little bit different because I feel like once I got to like the 6 p.m. mark, I couldn't do anything other than focus on breathing. But before that, I think we brought the Switch. We listened to music. We played games. Tony and I are pretty goofy, so I honestly don't remember very much before the pain. I think we kind of.
I was gonna say once you hit the pain point, you're basically just trying to like do ease.
But I know we brought the Switch. Like we're planning on bringing the Switch again, bringing a speaker. I'm gonna bring my Kindle if I'm like calm enough to read. And then for me, I didn't rest very much that whole time. But once I got the epidural, I took a nap. It was like a 30-minute nap. But yeah, I was so tired. I took a nap. They were big on trying not to let me eat. So I made sure I got food before I went in. But again, I induced. So it's a little bit easier to plan. But yeah, I think it was a lot. Yeah. When it wasn't like focusing on breathing and stuff, like I highly suggest bringing like cards or whatever you enjoy doing. Like I plan on bringing my Kindle and bringing Tony his Switch, which I know everybody's like, oh, your husband brought his video games. Yes, he did. He was sitting there waiting as well. So he did bring his video games.
Yeah. And if you're going to read, might as well let him do something versus stare at the wall. Yeah. And I agree with that. I did bring a bunch of stuff, but I didn't end up doing anything. Even if you're like into hobbies and you like to crochet or needlepoint or something and you want to bring that. Yeah. Anything that you can in the moment. But yeah, there's a point where it can be hard and you just have to focus on like breathing, bouncing, whatever.
I think I almost broke my hand at one point. Bring out the inner Hulk.
Yeah.
And I would say a big one, if you can sleep, spend your time sleeping.
Yes, definitely. Because you'll really want it. And I think that kind of jumps us into postpartum questions. So, one, What are tiny things that make newborn nights easier? I did want to mention that one quickly. We're going to link the episode because we actually talked about this recently. Otherwise, another question is, what does realistic recovery look like during the first 2 weeks of birth? I think this is an interesting question. Obviously, it can look different for everyone. For me, like, I know I was waking up a lot, like every 2-3 hours. Just, it was hard. It felt like I never slept, honestly. And for me, recovery, it kind of felt like I was taking my painkillers when I could. And I was just moving from my nighttime spot to my daytime spot is really how it felt. And then napped when I could. And then you're basically for me, it felt like I was just taking care of Dash those 2 weeks with some time for me in there. I'd go to the bathroom when I could and fix it. And I liked going to the bathroom less because I didn't want to deal with.
Yeah.
There's a lot of steps when you're postpartum down there. And then sometimes we'd go outside and stuff and go on a walk and stuff. But honestly, the first 2 weeks for me were resting and because I hurt so much and then caring for Dash. I don't know. How about for you? I know it might be harder to remember now.
No, I
Been a
definitely. I'm
minute.
over here thinking, I'm so curious what's going to be like with a toddler.
Yeah, I agree.
It was the same for me. Daytime spot. I try to get out of the bed. I know some people just
Yeah,
lay
me
in
too.
the bed, but we posted up on the couch. Tony had a pretty good leave with me. That was the nice thing. I remember I slept. The first couple nights, she slept 6 hours at night, but then Tony did nights, which was like a heaven sent. He just stayed up with her. So it was, nighttime was, okay, feed her, tell Tony to come get her. He would play video games, to keep himself up all night with her. He would try to soothe her if she was up. If it was feeding time, he'd bring her, literally put her on me. I'd feed her, text him, say, come get the baby. He'd take her out, put her in the bassinet or whatever. During the day, it was honestly, as far as baby goes, it was on the couch. Trying to at that time, I was very much so trying to feed, play, sleep, trying to keep on that schedule, whatever. So trying to get her to sleep in the bassinet in the living room, stuff like that. For me, that was months. I just was on the couch for months watching TV and just feeding her. But I was very much so I don't want to go do anything with this baby. We go outside. It was hot here though, and the UV index is crazy. So I didn't go outside that much with her. And then, I feel like that was a big one for me, was taking care of the recovery. If I remember correctly, I stopped taking my medicine as soon as I could handle it because I felt weird about taking perks while nursing. I don't know why. It just felt weird to me. I was like, you're telling me I can't do any of this other stuff, but I can take Xans and perks and stuff. So, but I think one of the scariest parts, the hardest parts, but also the best parts were doing my, what's it called? My sitz baths, sitting in the, starting it was always just oh, not fun. But I think I always felt so good after doing my sitz bath. So taking that 20 to 30 minutes 3 times a day to do my sitz baths, icing, getting in, laying in positions that are comfortable so that if you do tear, I think that's the biggest thing other than baby is taking care of myself. And then part of it was having people over for me because people just showed up. So I didn't do very much. It's really hard for me to leave a room when people I was raised to be such a host that was hard for me because they'd be oh, go take a nap. And I'm I can't take a nap here in my house kind of thing. But yeah, so couch potato, feed, sleep, it's bath, ice your giant.
Yeah, a lot of that.
So how do moms actually rest postpartum when they still have things to do? And tagging on to that, we had another question about how are moms showering, eating, and functioning with a newborn? And I think that those are really great questions.
I agree. But what I was going to say is I actually think you were kind of mentioning that when you were talking about your sitz baths and stuff. I think those are great things to do it. I do know Dr. Kim, she had mentioned some stuff that I actually really loved in her episode talking about checking in with yourself, just even setting a timer on your phone. I definitely think that is something that can be helpful because when Haw was laughing, it's because can be really hard to do when you're in that.
Yeah. Well, and I think now that I'm like, it's starting to come back to me, most of my sitz baths were when people were visiting. You want to be all in my baby's face. I don't need to be there while you're doing that. Or there was a lot, they do a lot of just like sitting around and eating and drinking. So I would go because I couldn't, like mentioned, I couldn't really nap. So I would go and I would do my sitz baths. That was also for me a really good time because I mentioned in I think the last episode that even though I know my husband is capable, I still feel like I should be the one doing it. So that was a good way for me to give like you do it and like just get myself out of it and go do this. It was always the sitz baths. It's really easy when you know you have a wound that you have to take care of.
Mhm.
Showering, that's a really great question. Didn't do it as often. That's a joke that Tony and I have. He's like, I don't know how often you're going to shower when this baby comes. And I'm like, I want to do so much better. Like, I really want to shower more. But it can be stressful, especially when your partner goes back to work. But I think that kind of comes down to like how you feel. And like, if you want to sit on the couch instead of showering, as nasty as that sounds, like sit on the couch and don't shower. Like, there also is, you can bring baby in the shower with you.
I did that.
I know you would put him in a bouncer, right? I think not that like you couldn't do it with any kind of wrap before, but they make wraps now for you to bring into the shower so that like baby can be on you or taking a bath with them and doing kind of like a sponge bath thing. And I honestly I kind of hate that because I'm like, it's such a process. But like, yeah, if it's an issue of you not having alone time to do it, like bring baby with you, take bath with baby. Eating, that's where I kind of suggest like the meal prep beforehand.
I definitely agree. I think that helped a lot because if you're someone like me that doesn't prioritize like feeding yourself, that will help you actually do it.
I'm so bad. If I'm not feeding my family, I honestly have a really hard time feeding myself. Although I will say for me, I have never been healthier than when I've been pregnant or nursing because I know that I have to have the nutrients in order for my baby to get the nutrients. I never had breakfast before, like, and with nursing and being pregnant, honestly, I eat so good. I joke with Tony that I should start a TikTok of like what I eat as a pregnant woman, like as a pregnant dietitian. I'm not a dietitian. I just like eat so much healthier being pregnant. But yeah, I would say like anything, if you're somebody who doesn't like to cook and you don't like to food prep, buying those things. So having Jimmy Dean's frozen breakfast sandwiches is my go-to. Having the oatmeal balls, having the protein shakes, having literally just whatever you can do to just grab and go and like sit with. One of my baby shower requests was my new brewmate because I can lock it and I can keep it on the couch with me and know that it's not going to spill and I don't have to go reaching for it. So stuff like that. And this is not an ad for brewmate. It's just the only one that I found that actually works.
Yeah, I think that is the 100%. The only other thing I would add is just like find it when you can, like if you can slip in a little moment here and there for yourself, whether it's eating a quick snack and that's the other thing, like with Hobbs saying the quick snack, I would even, like for me, I kept trail mix on hand. Like I know at Costco, they sell like a lot of like small packet things like that are, so things like popcorn that are in individual bags. Sorry, individual bags is what I was thinking of. Those can be really helpful too during that time because you can keep them in your cart, you can quickly grab them and you can snack on them. So that was really helpful for me. And then just to kind of jump into the next question, because I do think it kind of relates to this, is someone asked like, when do you start feeling like yourself again postpartum? And for me, Hob has mentioned before that like scientifically really it's like 4+ years. However, for me, I felt like closer to the year mark is when I really started to feel mentally and physically like the fog was starting to lift. However, I still feel like I'm in it, but it definitely feels way better. What about for you?
I feel like I honestly, I was going to say, I feel like I actually made it through like the whole 9 yards of it. Maybe not even all the way, but I did 4 full years without being pregnant. I would agree. I think 1 year was for me when I started to feel like, okay, like I am a human. Like I'm not just like a feeding, sleeping machine. I like can start to see like the light. I remember telling you, Aaliyah, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's coming. I would almost say it's been like a yearly progression. Like 2 years, I started getting more into like dressing up how I want to and like just being like more of my own person and feeling like actually being interested in things. I remember Tony being like, you need hobbies when she was like 1. And I was like, fuck you. I would say year 3, year 4 is when I was like, oh yeah, like I am Hav again. Like I'm a mom, but like that doesn't define me. Like I have interest. I'm getting back into my plants. I'm reading. I'm doing all these things for myself. And a part of that is taking care of Azzy. But I definitely think like hormonally, mentally, not being down on myself. I feel like one year is like, yeah, I can see that, but I was still so like just like the guilt, just everything. Honestly, probably still pretty strong on the postpartum depression. Like it's really freaking hard. The overstimulation, the just like, I think year 3 or 4, I did have some sleeping issues. So that was the whole thing. But I think that's when I could kind of start separating like what was going on with her and what was going on with me, if that makes sense. But yeah, I definitely think it's like a yearly progression, to be honest.
100%. And I think it's something that if you have multiple kids, it's a flow,
Mhm.
Like I'm sure you'll start having, maybe not the same things, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of different hormonal experiences that you're about to experience just because,
Yeah.
that's being pregnant and postpartum over and
I'm
over
mentally
again.
prepared for it. Absolutely. I think it's one of those things that like I don't know what it's gonna be like. It'll be different on like I feel like what is stressing me out in regards to baby, but I definitely think like the hormones are the hormones. And like
Yeah.
right now I'm feeling good, but like the stress is gonna be there. I fully anticipate them. I mean, I still have mom guilt, but the like I don't have enough time for Azzy, I don't have enough time for me, I don't have enough time for dad. But yeah, I think the 4-year thing is like pretty accurate
I agree. Yeah.
for full
Yeah. Right.
starter.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like I said, I feel way better, but I still feel like I'm not 100%. So I agree. And I guess I would say let's take that into the random questions then. So
Yeah.
we've been getting some emails of just like random questions. So we figured we'd pool them together. Yeah, they're all over the board. So I believe the first one, it's shows and programs that we like for, we'll just say like 1 to 4, just because Azzy's, we'll do like a dash to Azzy age group.
Yeah, yeah. Sure. Which I will say what I like for her is not necessarily all that she's watching, to be completely
Oh,
fair.
100%.
I will try to remember my best from what I really loved from when she was younger. And I know you'll be able to go a little bit more into that because Dash is in that stage. But I remembered I was big on Miss Rachel. Her voice was really annoying, to be honest. But I think she did. I think Azzy learned a lot of things. And I also learned a lot of things about how to teach her about speech and stuff. So I think when baby's like young, I think they say like you should be interacting with the TV with them. And I do think that is good if you can. Other YouTubers like Miss Moni, she was an Australian Miss Rachel. She was just a little bit more calm voiced. I loved her, but that was hard too because Australian sign language is different than American. So just like keep that in mind. And then as far as like low stimulation, we did a lot of music at that age, like music videos and stuff. Cloud Babies was an interesting one that we did for her. It was cute. I can't remember, like, if I watched it back, if I would still be like, "Oh, yeah," for, like, a 1, 2-year-old, but I think so. It was just very calm, like, cute, relaxing. Anything that, like, would, like, teach her about bedtime and, like, routines, letters, stuff like that. Like I said, she's super into, like, Disney and princesses, and so she watches a lot of stuff that, like, a 4-year-old, like, tech like, we're you know. But I do a lot of Leapfrog right now. YouTube has Leapfrog, so we do like the Letter Factory. And she loves it because it's like a TV show, but they do learn about the vowels and letters and numbers. And a lot of stuff that I would say that is like good for her right now is just like activity stuff. Like I like Danny Go. It might be overstimulating a little bit, but she like runs and she jumps and I make sure that she jumps on a trampoline while she's watching it. Like she's not allowed to sit down and watch it.
Side note of Danny Go, if you haven't seen it, if you're someone else that doesn't know, he has a child that is terminally ill. So if you watch his videos, that'll help. So if you watching shows and stuff, we definitely recommend him just because we love supporting other parents, when they're dealing with
Yeah.
hard things. So I'm glad you brought that
Yeah.
up because I actually wasn't going to mention that show, but I think
And
it is
kids
worth mentioning.
she loves him. He's like quirky and like he's somebody that I would like to like play with my kid in real person, like in
Right.
real like as far as his YouTubes. But yeah, I like it's very interactive as long as especially with that one, as long as like you're having them interact with them. Sometimes I'll get up and do it with her. But she does have a little text trampoline and like if she wants to watch an extra 30 minutes of TV, sometimes I'll be like, yeah, you can watch Danny Go, but you have to be jumping. And
Yeah.
that's the deal. So those are a few from what I remember. We're in a Disney phase. I was gonna say anything that's learning. So like PBS, a lot of PBS shows.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah. And then Netflix, there's like Creature Cases. It's this quirky little show, but she learns so much about animals and like wild habitats and stuff from this little like animated show. So yeah.
I love all of those. To add on, because I agree, I really like the learning shows. One I would add is like the Magic School Bus. We actually really like watching that it's on Netflix currently. Not the new one. We like the old one. I'm sure the new one's fine, but I'm like, we've been watching the old one. And then for some low stimulation shows, I do like Little Bear, Sesame Street, which is kind of like learning. Trash Truck. I know it's not, but I actually think it's pretty cute.
I hear everybody loves Trash Truck, and I actually hear really good reviews on its like low stimulation stuff.
It is.
She's the age that should be watching Trash Truck, actually, but that's okay.
And then Oswald, which I don't know if you guys remember that when we were kids, but it was the little blue octopus and he had a little wiener dog. That one's really cute too. And then just on like YouTube, because we also like music, I do like Doggyland, which is Snoop's like kid stuff. Those are fun. It's nice because it's music. Yeah, it has TV and stuff, but it feels better than some things. And then I've mentioned it before, but I like to just sometimes turn on like ambiance.
Yeah.
And they have like floating pictures and stuff, but more it's just kind of nice it's very low stimulating. Obviously, it's just some music. And then like if we're in spring, it'll be like spring themed.
Yeah, I love it. I know everybody knows like Gracie's Corner and stuff, but I feel like that is a good one too because it's like Azzy would get up and dance to it and like sing all the things, and we learn about brushing our teeth. And if it's like I don't know, I feel like stimulation. I do try to pay attention to that, but also like if we're learning about like friendships and how to be a good person or stuff like that, that's kind of what I try to focus on. But yeah. And then if we want to go on to like another question that we have, I know this is a good question. What is our favorite early baby gear? That is something I am still trying to figure out. I know, Aaliyah, you had a few more different things than I did.
When I saw this question, I was starting to I just like sat and was thinking about like the things that I were like my must haves. And I wouldn't say there was a ton of things because we've mentioned you don't need a ton of things those early days. But for me, it was like my wild bird carrier, which is like a forward facing, and you can do on the back carrying the tush baby. Let me see, my sleep sacks. And then honestly, my Nanit, which I know some people, it depends on how you feel about Wi-Fi based, but I love that it was a camera that obviously watched him when he slept, but it has a band that wraps around his body. And so it tracked his breathing at night. And so it's kind of like the owlet, but instead of it being on their foot, it's on the waist. And it just gave me so much peace of mind. I honestly don't think I would have slept at all if we didn't have that. So those 4 things I think really helped me. Like they were simple, like some of them were for sleeping and then some of them for just like moving, honestly. And then the rest, it's like they were nice, but I don't think like those were the things that were my game changers.
Yeah. I would say because I was a no Wi-Fi baby monitor. I'm not like super like I'm like I would if somebody gave me a Nana, I would use it. But this is a pretty popular one, the Optics DXR. I am a huge fan of it. We have the Pro, so it does noise canceling, which was huge because we did a sound machine. And it does a really, really good job of sound canceling, but also picking up on baby noises.
Oh.
I still use it to this day with Azzy so that I know if she needs me. Very responsive parent, so you can say what you want about that.
I was going to say, our kids are having that monitor until they're like 10.
Well, and it just gives me peace of mind because she's at a point now where I can sleep while she's awake, but I need to know that she's not like, she's left the house before. So Anyways,
Parenting.
parenting. But yeah, I really like that one. And it also has like night mode so you can see the night vision. It's a really good camera. It's worth the money. It's not the cheapest, but I think it's worth the money. We just bought another camera so that we can have it's on one monitor. We can have 2 cameras. I wasn't in love with any of my carriers, but I think having a carrier is definitely important. I have the Moby wrap. I have the Ergo like 360, Omni 360 that you can use and that came in handy when she was bigger because she got big fast. And I'm trying the Mom Cozy Air Mesh wrap this summer. So hopefully, but I think whatever you can afford, just like having some kind of, whether it's like a scarf wrap or a buckle wrap, something so that you can have them on you. I think that was something that saved me is like once my sister was finally like, if you need to get house stuff done and they're not sleeping, wear them. Just wear them. And they're also with daytime, I will say. I'm big on circadian rhythms and I didn't let her sleep more than 3 or 4 hours during the day. Like she could go right back to sleep, but I would wake her up. But that's also if you have a lot of stuff to get done, it helps with their circadian rhythm because they're moving with you. So that like they know it's kind of like active time.
I agree. Any carrier that works. I mean, I had the Ergo. It was fine. I just liked my Wild Bird better. The other reason I did like it, just to mention in case you are someone that maybe is concerned about having a bigger baby, I can still wear him in that carrier. And so that's part of the reason I purchased that one, just because it is hard. It's hard when it's long term. So it's a little more expensive, but I felt like it went long term and I love it. It's so comfortable. But I do think that's worth noting because then I also bought like a more expensive wrap and I used it for such a short time because he grew so fast. So
people are like hotcakes, I will say, on marketplace stuff.
Oh, yeah. But I think it's worth noting that you don't need all the latest and greatest for sure, because I could have gotten away just fine with a non-expensive wrap.
Yeah.
And a non-expensive carrier. I just liked my carrier. So I'm being bougie about it.
Justin, I am too. So, but that's, absolutely. Like, I think there's so many on the market now, like that are really expensive, that are not expensive, just whatever works for you. Secondhand is great. Wash it, steam it, clean it. You'll be good.
Do you have a podcast and about 4 minutes of free time? Are you editing during nap time, answering emails at midnight, or wondering how your podcast became a second full-time job?
But you don't need to do it all. You need back-end support. That's why we offer podcast editing and post-production for busy moms who have something to say, but no time for audio, show notes, or scheduling. You record, we handle the rest.
Close your eyes and imagine fewer late nights and way less tech stress. If that sounds good, check the link in the description and book a free discovery call. Just a quick chat to see if we're a good fit.
Because podcasting should feel fun, not like another thing on your already really full plate.
Other recommendations on like baby items, like baby development items. I will start by saying I really don't think you need to purchase any if you don't have the money or you just don't want all the clutter. I don't think you need any of these things, but things that I did have. Okay, I will say I'm going to start like further along the walkers. I don't think that actually helped her at all because I had to like hold it back. She was immediately running. We liked ours because she had fun with it and like it had other activities for her. I think the best walking thing for her was just standing up and walking along the couch and like walking with us. And like they like, I don't know if you've seen like people putting like the towel under them and stuff, but we did. We used them. We did use them. I don't have like a favorite. I think we just had like Fisher Price walkers, but I think there's other developmental things you can do for like standing and walking, like motivating them to like get up with like their favorite toys and stuff like that. I probably have less to say on that because Azzy was walking at 9 months and I couldn't get her to stop. So we'll go there. Other things I think for development is just like anything that'll grab their fans, ceiling fans. Great development because they're like watching them rotate. I'm really big into like the Montessori, like white and black contrast stuff for visuals. I think tummy time in general. This isn't a recommendation on an item. Just putting them on tummy time, having them on your chest, things like that. I think it's just being purposeful about giving them like options and like things to do and like not holding them back from it. I don't have a lot of recommendations on like, I don't think I got like a Montessori crib thing for him this time, but that's just because I want to be able to lay him down and maybe have him focus on something, but I don't.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would pretty much say ditto on all of that. There wasn't like when I saw this question, it was hard for me because I felt like I tried everything and a lot of things didn't work. And so I think it's just one of those things, trial and error. The walker, I mean, we use it. Dash liked walking with it. Obviously, he just started walking. He was super late. It didn't, I mean, it's each their own. And I still love that toy. I would still get a walker again. But like Hop said, I liked it for play and other things, not just for like developmental reasons. So yeah, if you feel like there's things that you want to try, do it. But I definitely think this is an area that like you can develop them by being intentional. You don't have to get all the latest gadgets to teach your kids.
I was going to say, I did love that this is so, like, they say don't do this for development. So not a development toy, but I love the activity center for like,
Oh, yeah.
she would get super distracted by the toys and like she would like stand up and bob and stuff on it. They say not to do that for too long, but I do say if you have the money and you have the time, like an activity center was really nice for mom personally.
Yeah. I liked the activity center too. And I think that leads us into our next question is just other, maybe some toys that we liked. I would say like one thing I will say, especially the younger age, things that I really like were like noisy remotes. They're annoying, but I liked them for on the go. Like it was nice in the house, but it was like you're in the car and maybe you have a kid that it's hard to be in the car. The remotes are really nice. I even had like this sloth that you like pulled and it would like up. That was like a real hit item for us. Things like that.
Makes noise, to be honest. Like I know for her, like especially when putting her down, I think this was kind of a sanity thing for when she was under 1. I think her like Fisher Price like rocker or whatever that like made noise, especially when she learned how to like pull the flower thing and like make it like it was so distracting and she loved it. And I know they like you'll hear like anything that's not actually a baby toy. So true.
Oh, true.
My old keyboard was like her favorite thing in the world. Her dad's video game remote that was broken, loved it. I think anything that's like squish, they're kind of like dogs. Anything that's squishy and crinkly and like bright, that was big for when she was learning her hands, having like a ball that she could just like move around.
I like that you brought up anything noisy and stuff. I think that's so true. Honestly, most Fisher Price toys, I really liked when he was younger to kind of play on the bound, like the flower and stuff was the keyboard that played with the purple monkey and it was like purple monkey and a bubblegum tree, that one. That we still play with it to this day. And early on it was really good for tummy time and that stuff, and now it's just good for playing and being annoying.
Yeah.
So
I will say also like sorting toys, like I don't know when she actually started like sorting properly. Like I said, Azzy was kind of like insane when it came to like being ahead of the game on that stuff. But like the little box where you do the triangles and the squares, she loved that. The stacking rings, most of the time she was honestly just like chewing on them, but she loved it. Any of those toys. And then eventually like then I felt good too because even though they're not like they don't know what a square is, I'd be like, that's a square. And like you just kind of talk them through it. And so I think that probably did help her learn her shapes and her colors and stuff like that. I did like the little tummy time toy that had like the piano and like the hanging stuff on it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And she would like kick it. Yeah. She'd kick at the keyboard. Yeah. Make anything that makes noise.
Yeah. Anything that makes noise. And then just a couple more, because as you were saying, I was thinking of tummy time. We really liked the aquarium. I think it's a little Einstein. And then the mats you can lay on. That the water mats.
Huge for yeah. I already bought one for Jiraiya, like because I was big on for her.
But honestly, it's like Wahab said, I mean, anything. Kids, it doesn't take much to entertain them. If you want to just go to a thrift store and buy a couple toys and then give them a spoon, honestly, they'll be happy. So, yeah, these are just definitely things that we found useful. So don't feel like, and we're already phasing out. I mean, Dash now likes cars. We like little people. So, don't feel the need to buy a bunch of stuff because it can evolve really fast, especially those early days. I mean, by the time tummy time's over, I'm like, they're running. So,
yeah, up and going.
Yeah. And so I think that kind of takes us, we have just a couple more questions. The next one is good kid, like baby books and stuff. I'll just kind of start. Some ones that we really like currently or just like up to this point is like The Sarah Boynton books, I think is how you say them. They have like, she has like dinosaurs and little animals. Those are really cute. They're any type of like board book, really. And then we really like board books, again, with noises, with flaps, with the touchy-feely ones. Like any interactive book, we really love in our household. And then Trash Truck, the Very Hungry Caterpillar, like really basic. Like, I mean, the ones you see, they're great books. But yeah.
I was surprised by how uninto books they are. Like those books until a certain age. I can't remember. I know everybody's like read from them to them from day one. And I'm not saying don't, but just also set your expectations that like it's a book and it's a baby. So yes, the like touch and feel ABC book. When she was young, like when she actually started being interested in like reading, I will say there's the pop it books where they can just like pop.
Oh, yes. We like those too. Yeah.
We love those. Anything touchy-feely. But then when she started being interested in books, and I'm not saying she was like reading and talking and stuff, but we loved Hungry Caterpillar, Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, anything that you can like get animated with. Brown Bear, what do you see? That taught her like some of her animals and stuff, or even like the little tiny little books that's like Pig Oink.
Yes.
Cat Meow. Stuff like that. And if they interact and they can make the noises better, less not good for your sanity, but kids love it. But yes, anything like that where it's just kind of like, look, cat, meow, or like, do you see the purple cat? Stuff like that. She still loves Brown Bear. And I mean, she reads so much now. Like there's so many millions of books. I was, especially for Azzy, really into the books that were about hair and loving your hair. There was one, I can't remember what it is. It's in ABC's hair and it has like a mirror in it. And it's all about like brown girls with like curly hair. So if you can find any of those are really cool because it just kind of like showed her different hairstyles, different hair textures, and her ABCs.
Yeah, I love that. And I do think that's a good point. I mean, Dash has always liked pulling books out and looking at them. But until I would say, he's almost 2, probably a year and a half, maybe a little after years when he started showing interest a little bit. I wouldn't say like interest, but that's also why I like the flip books or board books. They just have less words. They're easier for them to sit through and stuff. So it's like you are starting to teach them and learn things, but both of you have the patience to maybe sit and look at things. So that's also why I like the noise books and stuff. Sometimes it's just to be able to like,
it's just a distraction.
Right. It's just being a part of something.
There's the high contrast crinkle books that they can just like look at it and crinkle and stuff. But I am big on like please do books. Azzy loves them. She'll wake up early and she'll read herself her books that she's like memorized. It's really cute.
I also really, really, really suggest reading books, especially from the start. I think I will link it. And this is because that's what motivated me to read books to Dash is there was some stat that said kids that are read one book daily when they're a year have a million more words than kids that didn't get read books, which was just crazy to me because that is so many words. Like even if they're not taking it all in, just to being exposed to, like, I don't know, it's just, especially it's nice to add to your nighttime routine or morning routine. But it was just crazy to me to think of how many more words just by reading, a simple book. So I definitely recommend it. And then just to kind of wrap up our last question, I don't have a ton. However, someone had asked if we had any places for moms if you're looking to connect with other moms and stuff. I'm not currently a part of any groups, but we've mentioned her before. We definitely highly recommend following Carrie Locker. If you haven't, she's a great resource for breastfeeding and just being a mom. Of course, follow us, continue staying in the loop. Otherwise, Hob, did you have any other groups or anything that you can think of?
I don't have any groups locally. I'm so sorry. I'm not a social person. Somebody asked me the other day about mom and baby groups. I will say like the music groups where the babies can just play. Like if you can find those type of groups locally, my sister did that. She really loved it. I would say like Facebook groups are kind of the only thing that I would maybe have. But I also would say take everything with a grain of salt because there's some cuckoos on them. But I have Solid Starts is a good for feeding. If you want to be dye-free, there are some dye-free ones. I don't have any specific suggestions. I am part of some. I'm not super dye-free, but like it's interesting. And then Hey Sleepy Baby is one. She's an Instagram, like she has social media. I really like her. She's kind of on like my Carrie Locker kind of level. She doesn't like post that much in it, but it's just kind of like a forum for parents to ask questions and like suggestions about sleep, but it's just kind of like a camaraderie page, I feel like. So if you are someone who like just wants to hear the other parents going through similar things and maybe get suggestions or maybe just like feel good that you're not the only one going through it, I suggest that one. But again, take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah, and as you're saying that, two things I'd like to mention just with locally. I am in a local mom group. So like if you are someone that's curious, maybe new to an area, search, your town or the region you're in, see if you can find things. If you're in our area and you can't find ours, message me and I'll send you the link to it. And then the other thing I was thinking about with that, is also search locally, but also if there's certain interests, like maybe you want to politically, like maybe you have certain political beliefs or you have certain things, search that on Facebook too. Like I've done whatever homeschooling and see what you can find, just because you might be amazed depending on what you're looking for and what kind of things, just do some searches. You might be surprised what you can find and be a part of, even if it's just to lurk. And then the other thing is the public library. I know we've mentioned it before, but I was going to say it can be a really good resource with activities to actually get out. So definitely don't forget to look at that.
And I will add parks. Like I
Yeah.
know, but like usually, especially if you're going like during school hours, there's usually a lot of moms with the kids similar age. And I don't know, we just started doing it at one local park here, but sometimes they do. The library hosts story time at the park here. So if you stay involved with like your library's newsletter and stuff, that might be a club just enough.
Yeah. Or even locally, I know we do end up having events. I did one last year for Dash at Halloween. They did like a story time at the library, but it wasn't like anyone specific putting, like there wasn't, like it just happened to be put on. So also look for things like that, because you might be surprised. A lot of people, especially nowadays, are really trying to involve their kids more. So keep your eyes peeled for random pop-ups and stuff, because that can be also a great way to connect with other moms, especially in smaller communities. Yeah.
I agree.
And I think that's it. I think it's like what Hob said. Take what you want and leave the rest. Otherwise, I don't know. Hob, did you have any final thoughts?
I don't think so. Find what works best for your kiddo and run with it,
Yep.
Have fun, but don't worry about buying all the things, to be honest.
100%. And that's it for today's episode and for the season. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. It has been a really fun time this season. If this episode made you feel a little less alone, please share it with another mom.
Yeah. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit subscribe, leave a review. Let us know what you might want for next season. It helps more moms find the show, and it helps us know what you want. Until next season, remember to keep the kids alive and your coffee hot, or at least reheated once. Bye.
Bye.